this is Joe. Today's recipe is beef stew. This type of stew would satisfy gravy-loving people like my family. And today's ingredients are celery, and back here we have salt and pepper and cream of mushrooms. We also have bell peppers. You could use whatever color of bell peppers you want. I happen to have orange and red. Chopped onions. I have mushrooms, which are thoroughly rinsed and cut in half. I have carrots, garlic, flour, and our cut up beef. So let me go ahead and start the preparation. So the first thing I do is season my beef with fresh cracked black pepper, and I will also season it with some salt, and I'm going to lightly coat this with flour. The flour will help me brown this meat without drying it up. Okay, let's add a good amount of olive oil in skillet or wok. In this case, I'm using wok to brown my beef. Try not to crowd the frying pan or the wok. Let's brown the meat a little portion at a time. And as you can see, when the pot or the frying pan is not too crowded, the meat browns a lot faster. We'll go ahead and transfer the meat in a different container. Okay, so I'm browning the last batch of my beef, and I'll show you what I do once the beef are nice and brown. Okay. Okay, let me just go ahead and move this so I could show you where I've been putting my browned beef at. Okay, right here, as you can see, it's my favorite pot. This is where I transfer the meat as soon as I have it browned. Okay, now let's move that back at the back burner, and I'm going to continue using the same wok and add a little bit more of oil. You don't have to if you got a lot of oil left after browning your meat. Okay, so I'm going to add my onions, my garlic. Now you could chop up your garlic nice and small if you wish, but because we are going to stew this meat a good while, it will break down before this dish is completely done. Okay, so now we're going to add onion. Go ahead and put that in. Okay, so our garlic and onion, I added some of the bell pepper. I'm saving some for later. Okay, so I'll go ahead and add the mushrooms. Let's add a little bit of salt in it, about a pinch, not much, just to season our mushrooms. Another option, you can use plain water to create your gravy, or in this case, I decided to use chicken broth. Okay, I have chicken broth here. This is about, let me see, 2 pounds, 32 ounces of chicken broth. Okay. And I'll be using that to create my gravy. Okay. I just want the aromatics to come out nice and translucent. And it's slightly wilted. Then I'll go ahead and add my carrots. Just want to give the vegetable a little time to kind of caramelize a bit. Okay, so as you can see, there it is. You can see that it is starting to turn brown, starting to caramelize. And that's what I want. I want to create that flavor. I want a little bit of depth of flavor of my aromatics into my beef stew. So that will give you a very rich flavor on my gravy. I will go ahead and add all of the vegetables and aromatics inside the pot where I have the meat. Kind of spread that around. And because I just pulled my chicken broth from the fridge, I used probably about half a cup from here. So I'm going to put it in the wok so that I could take some of the cold temperature of the broth. Now you have an option to cook this stew on your stove top, but because I'm very busy today, I'm gonna do a shortcut and just incorporate all the ingredients in this pot and then stick this in the oven until the meat is tender, and then I'll pull it out and complete the last process of this recipe. Okay, so my broth is nice and hot. I will go ahead and add it to my meat. Okay, so you can see that I have my vegetables and my meat all incorporated in this pot. I am now going to put a lid on it and stick in the oven. I have my oven on 400 degree, and like I said, I could continue cooking this in a stove top, but when you're busy, sometimes you have to do the next best thing, which I'm going to stick this in the oven and let it cook in there. Okay, I'll bring you back in the second part of this. Okay, so let us see how this is coming along. It's looking good so far. Now what I'm after is the tenderness of the meat. Okay, it is tender enough so that I could continue with the next step, which is to add the rest of my vegetable and add my cream of mushroom. Okay, so the cream of mushroom will give it the very creamy, rich texture of gravy. Add my vegetables. These are celery and the rest of the bell pepper. Okay. We're gonna put the lid back on it and stick it back in the oven. salt, and our stew is done.